we're going to try to take the standard D&D thing and make it leisure fantasy, aka Studio Ghibli-esque. How does our topic for today, the Soul Knife Rogue, fit into Obojima? And if you don't know what Obojima is a world inspired by Studio Ghibli and Legend of Zelda. It is the book that we wrote over the course of a couple years, and you can find it online at obojima.com. You can get the PDF on our website or on D&D Beyond. And you're joining us for a new series where we try to take some regular D&D subclasses and turn them into Obojima style subclasses. And how are we going to do that with a soul knife? That is
right
the
there,
question.
Even in the name.
Well, initially I thought assassin, and then I was like, phew, that's going to be hard. So let's go soul knife first, because that seems easier.
We'll ease into it.
So a soul knife strikes with the mind, cutting through barriers both physical and psychic, revealing their full potential only as you experience the stress of adventure. Interesting. So it's magic developed through trauma magic.
Little X-Men-ish.
So let's talk about this. This is a person who summons like psychic blades to attack with, which is very like this. I'm just looking at this art. It's like blue hair, lightning blade, storm cloud man.
Yeah,
it's very, very deep.
Strong X-Men
It's
vibes.
very strong X-Men vibes.
Yep.
One of the things we discussed, and this is something that we were talking about right before we got on here, that, you know, without context to this, I think is kind of interesting, is the fact that there's this magic type that we've kind of coined for Obojima called memories. And memories are these like really like things that are left behind that are really potent.
It's like a memories or experiences
that are
had.
So strong that manifest in this magical way. The best example of this would be the rubble golem. So the rubble golem is a monster that is like a pile of rubble, and it is said to exist in a place where someone has died via building collapse. And so we're kind of saying that this is like the memory of that person is creating this golem that now exists over where their corpse lies, right?
Yeah.
Not quite a soul, but instead something else, right? Another example of this would be walking through Yadaman, one of the major cities of Obojima, walking through a major city and seeing an abandoned bake shop, but you smell the sweet scent of these cookies being produced, even though the shop is like crumbling. And that's just because like this potent memory cherished by a lot of people existed there for such a long time that the magic of the world, specifically Obojima, kind of brings it to life. I could see something interesting here where Psionics is maybe replaced with the memory of magic. That's kind of like haunted trauma type experience is a possibility.
Dreams that you're having.
Besides that, psionicness, I think in Obojima could potentially be expressed through a connection to spirits if you wanted to. I know that we use that quite often, but it could be another connection to spirits. It also could be something that is like granted to you through enchantment. You think about like enchanting magic items, like I'm going to take a sword and I'm going to cast this spell on it every day for a year straight until the magic is seeped into the blade itself and it can now enact this magic on its own.
Makes me think of that one, there were like, maybe it was a pair of blacksmiths. They were Dara, and they would fold glyphs. They would like hammer out the metal and then they'd put a glyph on it, and then they'd fold it and put another glyph on it. Maybe there could be something similar with like, there is a blacksmith imbuing memory into an object, you know? And so as they're heating the metal, folding it, then they're imbuing this sort of psychic imprint on it. So if you take psionics and then you just say like psionics really in Obojima equal memory and emotion, like the emotion that's imbued in a memory, you know, and then you're taking that is translating into magic, or like you're saying like an enchantment, and then you can either put that in an object or you can, you know, launch it in a spell.
It's almost like, I think the weave is explained in D&D quite often, but it's expressed that in the Forgotten Realms, magic exists within the world like strings, all these like persistent strings invisible to the eye that are connected to all things. And then Mistra, who's the the goddess of magic, plucks on these strings to activate things. And when you're activating magic, you, unbeknownst to you, are plucking on these strings as well. You just can't see them. So if you could imagine memories, this special type of magic that exists on Obojima, are kind of existing hidden within the world. maybe this character can kind of like manifest them. Like, you can't see them, but you can kind of manifest them. And maybe, I mean, that's a kind of interesting way for them to manifest their weaponry. These two knives, you're almost like, it's like the blades don't exist until you kind of like call on a memory of like an old swordsman who's passed a long time ago.
Is this character like manifesting their own sort of traumatic past or whatever it is, or are they able to manifest all memories from somebody?
I don't think it's them personally. I think they are manifesting memories that exist within the space. So when you pull a blade into existence, it's not your blade. It's the blade of a swordsman from 200 years ago. A Dara woodcutter who, who built a cabin in the field that you're fighting in right now. And as you bring your blade out, it's like the woodcutter's axe or something like that.
Yeah. I'm imagining like in a city and you're surrounded by different people and you can kind of scan them. And then maybe you find something in a certain person, like...
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, like if somebody has sort of a vendetta, you could actually manifest a blade of vendetta, and what would that do?
So let's see what else they've got going on for the soul knife. These are more blade-based abilities. Teleportation, specifically.
Is it a blade? Teleportation blade?
I would say the best way is maybe not memories, because memories work well with the blade abilities, but less so when you're turning yourself invisible or teleporting or connecting your mind to someone else's. I think the enchantment side of things is a lot more interesting as a take for psychic abilities.
Yeah.
You going to like a sage, or even, going to many characters. Going to a spirit and getting a blessing from a spirit, and going to a sage and getting a talisman created.
Also maybe that character wants to seek out cursed objects, because kind of the more sort of powerful the memory is, maybe if this has a more of sort of a warlocky vibe to it, maybe it's like seeking out negative energy and negative memories.
Jujutsu Kaisen, amazing show.
Here we go. Yeah.
Did you ever watch Jujutsu Kaisen?
I watched some of it, but I haven't watched the whole thing.
Okay,
I gotta watch the whole thing. Gotta watch the rest of it.
The second season's amazing.
Okay.
Jujutsu Kaisen, the main premise of the show being that Yuji Itadori, the main character, consumes a cursed object. It's a finger. And it is one of the 16 fingers of like the demon lord or whatever, the cursed lord. But he has all of these unique powers based off of what he consumes. I think that's a very interesting concept, is these psionic characters are collecting cursed objects, and they're like, you can imagine you get like these pair of cursed blades, and rather than letting them exist in the world, you like bind them in wrappings and you burn incense around them or whatever, or maybe you melt them down and you have to consume it or something. It's like this, like you're taking on the punishment yourself or whatever. It's very martyry. It's it's a little weird, but I think that's the fun part about it, is like, how do you get rid of this curse? You have to consume it yourself. So they're collecting every time you do an upgrade. I think this is very interesting. Every time you do a level up, like when you go from having these blades to being able to teleport with psychic teleportation, it's like you find a new object. I think that's a really fun roleplay ability, is that every time you're about to level up, the DM hands you a new cursed object that you've just discovered.
That's cool.
And now you have to consume it to gain some of its power.
You find objects, and as your character's adventuring, they're doing stuff. They're having different kinds of stories, but there's always this sort of, in the back of their mind, they're always like, when am I going to find my next object? Yeah. And so the DM at some point, when they feel like they've earned enough experience points or they're ready to level up, it could be that let's say something like in Obojima, there was the demon lord Oima, who was defeated in a great battle. And I don't think we've really said like what exactly happened, but maybe you can find parts of the demon lord Oima that got like sundered, and you can come across a claw or a talon or a tooth or a scale or a horn or whatever, and you're finding these things, and as you're doing it, you're leveling up because you're pulling on this energy or these memories or these forces.
It's kind of like I think of the corrupted ranger.
Yeah.
It's not a ranger archetype you take on to have a happy time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're picking a character that's dying. That's what you're signing up to play as with the Corrupted Ranger. And so with the Soul Knife, like, you are playing a martyr, right? You're playing a character who is sacrificing themselves. They're gaining, in D&D terms, they're gaining new mechanics. But they are like what does that do to you? How does that change who you are to take on these things?
It would be interesting to like if you level up to a certain point and then there's a moment like a choice you have to make, and the DM's like, you can take this next thing, but now we have to start making almost like death saves. You almost have to take rolls, and before you start to actually manifest this demonic force inside you starts to actually, it goes over 50%.
Gosh, to reference Avatar for the 10,000th time. How could
So
you not?
good.
The end, right, where, Aang and Firelord Ozai are having this battle of wills. Maybe every time, especially towards the lower level, it's a lot easier. There's this battle of will that you have to have with the cursed object.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And it's like, you take it, and every time you win, you get this new ability. But as you get higher and higher, as you get to the level 13 ability or the level 17, when you're taking that level 17 object, that cursed object, and you're about to consume it, you have to know, like, there's a chance that it wins. And I am no longer a playable character.
Yep.
And now I'm a demon or something.
Yeah, you're an NPC.
I'm a cursed NPC.
You're a monster.
And I think that's a really fun way to roleplay. Is like, I'm going to leave it up to fate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to roll, like, maybe it's a D100. A D100, and if you roll below your level, you roll below the level that you currently are, the curse wins.
Yeah.
And so at level 3, it's like, what are the chances that you roll below a 3? But at level 17, it's essentially a 1 in 5.
Yeah.
And that's a really fun thing to
That
play
is
with.
great. Yep.
All right. I'm just saying, it's cool.
That's neat.
It's
I
cool.
dig it because I think it captures the sort of mutant part of this subclass, because it's kind of like this X-Men. You're different. You're kind of on this track to gaining lots of power, but I think also it keeps it into Obojima, where it's like we're pulling on the sort of the demon lever to kind of show where this crazy power is coming from.
And I think that's more akin to kind of like the mythos around Studio Ghibli and Legend of Zelda and Obojima. It's very, very Ashitaka from Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
Right, where you're seeking out to solve this problem at the cost of its manifestation within your own body.
And then at the end, you just kind of become Akira.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this new series.
Hey.
Let us know if you have a request for a subclass you want to hear us talk about. You can find us on Discord, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Did I say that already?
D&D Beyond.
Discord. I said D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
All of those things.
All the things.
You can pick up the book, the Obojima book, on our website, or D&D Beyond, or Alchemy as well.
Ooh, that's right.
Find a couple different places. Let us know what you're thinking in the comments. Tell us what do we want to do next? Who do you want us to do next? And we will catch you next time.
Shabam.
See ya.